so much for joining us on our LiveWell at School Food Initiative webinar this afternoon. First, I just want to cover a couple of quick housekeeping items before I pass things along to our first panelist. The first item is that we are recording this webinar, and a link to the recorded webinar will be available on the LiveWell at School Food Initiative website following this webinar. And additionally, a link to the webinar recording will be provided in a follow-up email that is going out to everyone who has registered today. The second item to cover is that we welcome you to submit your questions throughout the presentation as we go. To ask a question, simply type it into the on-screen control panel into the questions tab, and we will address those at the end of the presentation. So with that, I would like to turn it over to our first panelist, Rainey Wickstrom.
Hi, thank you, Alex, and welcome to the LiveWell at School Food Initiative's 8th webinar for Colorado Food Service Directors. We're so happy to have you joining us today. Today's webinar is focused on planning your campaign. Today we're going to walk through a simple process for completing an easy campaign plan. I recommend you gather up a pen, paper, and some pencil just to make some notes so that you can jot down these things as we get started. Today's objectives are to assist you in planning your annual school meal promotional campaign. We really want to be able to demonstrate to you the ease of using the LiveWell at School Food Initiative Food Service Director Toolkit to support your efforts to increase school meal participation. And joining us today, we have a food service director who is serving as a special guest who will be sharing some of his experiences in promoting his program. So let's start by addressing what might sound the most like you. Which of these things are something that you might say, I wish more students would choose lunch or breakfast. I wish more staff would come into the cafeteria and participate in my meal program. I'm just too busy to market my program. My focus is on feeding students. I'm not sure where to begin, and I could really benefit from a simple marketing plan to promote my program. If you answered yes to 2 or more of these, then you would benefit from today's webinar. So let's get started. The Food Service Director Toolkit was developed to make it easy for you to promote your program. The campaign planning tool is one of two tools we are focused on today. Was developed as a guide to help you identify opportunities and events to create a simple and effective plan for marketing your program on a yearly basis. This tool can be customized to fit your district needs and opportunities. So what is a campaign plan when it comes to school meals? Well, a campaign plan is aimed at accomplishing a strategic or operational objective within a given time and space. In this case, it's within a year. For example, a politician's statement might be, vote for me. A food service director's statement might be, vote for my program. Businesses promote their programs every day with advertisements, posters, signs, newspaper ads, coupons. You are in the business of making healthy food for students. If you don't tell people what's great about your program, how are they going to know? A campaign plan for school meals is a way to target those opportunities and events throughout the school year that provide an opportunity to tell your community why they should vote for your program and why they should participate. So how do you create a campaign plan? The first thing you need to really identify is, why do you want to promote your program? Each of you may be focused on different aspects of promotion. Some of you are focused on alleviating hunger in your district or lifting stigma about your program. Some of you need more buy-in from your staff, your parents, and your community. Others are targeted on reducing food waste. For many of you, it's just strengthening your bottom line or building community pride around your meal program, or possibly it's all of the above. Once you know which of these is your main focus area, we can begin to start planning ahead to figure out how to get the word out. This is a campaign planning tool. It's got several pages to it, but it was created as a one-step and easy process for you to identify how to get started marketing your program. This is page 1 of the campaign planning tool. There's an opportunity there for you to begin to look at what's within your district already that serve as opportunities. By the way, this tool is broken into two parts. It's broken into opportunities that exist and then specific events that you might focus on during the year. For example, do you have a district website? And on your website, do you have a landing page for your food service director department? And if you have a landing page, obviously you probably have menus there somewhere too. Do your menus, for example, really live up to the meals you're serving? Does it include words like homemade, savory, and great descriptors? Do you have a district newsletter or a school newsletter? Are there opportunities within your district to use social media, such as Facebook or Instagram? And do you have places where you can give presentations, such as your Board of Education, your parent groups, your principal groups? So let's scroll to the next page of the campaign planning tool. On this page, it helps you identify, do you have a local TV station or a radio station or a newspaper that would be willing to promote positive things about your program? And there's one more thing I'm going to add here. Do you have somebody in your district who can help you, such as a communications person or a marketing person or somebody who just likes to get the word out? The next part of the campaign planning tool are school district events that already occur or ones that you want to create. Here's an opportunity to look at the year in its entirety and to select maybe one or two or three specific opportunities where you want to go forward and promote your program at these events. This is an example of a calendar. And we have a number of food service directors that like to work on Colorado Proud Day. It's an opportunity to promote local items. Many others choose Thanksgiving, holiday feasts such as Thanksgiving and more around Christmas time. On this, you would select which of these are your target opportunities to promote your program. You might choose 1, 2, 3, depending on how much time you have. The next thing you would do is choose the date and the description of the event that you want to plan. So for Colorado Proud Day, we know that that's on September 30th. And we want to serve a special breakfast on this day that highlights some local Colorado agriculture and educates students about healthy and local eating. There may be 2 or 3 other events that you want to focus on as well. For each one of these events, we have an additional tool to help you make this event planning easy. It's called our planning checklist tool, and it's just like a grocery list. It helps you identify what you need before you arrive. Here's just a couple steps around planning any event. Choose your event, identify what you want to accomplish. In some cases, you may need to get support from your principal or from your administration. You'll want to choose a date and find out who it is that you want to target. For example, are you including parents in addition to students? Are you inviting senior citizens to come to this event? Who else would you like to attend? And then you choose your communication channel. So here's an example of the planning checklist tool. It walks you through all these steps. So in this case, our objective is we want to let the community know about some of the items that we're serving that are local. No, we don't need to get approval in this case because we're going to do this during our regular lunchtime. It's at the end of September, and we've looked at the district calendar and found out that this doesn't conflict with anything else happening. And then we've made sure that this has been uploaded to all the calendars that we use in the district so that other folks can know about it. And we may want to extend the audiences. So we know students are already going to be there, but who else would we like to attend? Do we want to invite the superintendent or the Board of Education? And maybe there are community members who want to participate as well. So here's a longer example of the planning checklist tool. There are other folks in the building that may need to know about this as well, such as our janitors and the people at the front line, such as reception, so that when people show up, they know where to direct them. We may have community partners as well who are really interested and enthusiastic about this event, and they may want to attend as well. And then we have the opportunity to look very simply to say, where are the places within within our district that we can promote this event. We had a number of food service directors last year that reported great success promoting Colorado Proud Day, and a couple of the little anecdotes that came out of that were the following. One food service director, she sourced local flowers and used those as centerpieces for her cafeteria. Other suggestions we hear from food service directors are start early and promote early. Don't wait till the last minute. Provide a detailed menu so people know where the food's coming from. Identify the Colorado farm family who's providing the menu items. We have down in the corner of this slide, Dan Witt from Pueblo had these life-size photos taken of the two local farm brothers who were providing the food, and they continue to hold the menu in each of his lunchrooms when he's promoting those local products. And then make sure you invite the local press. The press is interested in promoting positive stories. We have other resources on our website to promote on how to plan events and how to garner support from your community. We have a parent toolkit, a student toolkit, and also the full food service director toolkit. I want to now take you to a final campaign planning tool, just so you know that it can actually be pretty straightforward and simple to actually plan your campaign for the year. This is a food service director from Colorado, and she wanted to just target 4 or 5 things that she could do during the year. She's starting out in marketing promotions, and she recognized a couple things that were really going to be key for her for the 2015-16 school year. Number 1, she doesn't have a web presence, and so her focus is going to be getting with her technical person in her district to build a landing page where she can put a photo, a little bit about her cooking philosophy, and a picture of her new salad bar. So that's goal number 1 for her. Then she's going to focus, her key event is going to be back to school. They're going to be back to school nights in each of her schools, and she's going to offer a taste testing of some breakfast items since that's her main area of trying to increase participation. To promote those things, she's going to put an article in the newsletter, and she's going to use one of the tools from our toolkit, the back to school letter for parents, which she can customize to fill in the specific information that relates to her district. She's also going to customize the press release tool and send it out to the local newspaper to invite them to come and take photos and to publish an article. So those things she's going to get done largely in anticipation of the school year. When school actually starts, she's going to do a social media campaign. She's going to invite a high school student that she's already identified to help her post some positive things on Facebook that are happening in the lunchroom. And to do that, she's going to reference the Points of Pride tool, which is in our toolkit, which helps her find things that people will be interested to learn about, exciting, positive things happening. Other things, she already does a holiday meal event, but she recognizes that she wants to strengthen the language around that so that people know what's made from scratch, what's newly added. She specifically wants to use the tool, an invitation, to ensure that her superintendent comes and tries the food. And finally, she wants to create a 5-minute presentation that she can give comfortably this year to her parent group, to her Board of Education, about the great things happening in her program. She hasn't felt comfortable doing presentations, but this summer she's going to do a class on confident communications, and that's one little area that she's working on around personal development. So now that you can see a campaign plan, you can see there's a few targeted things. Many of these things already fit very seamlessly with what she's already doing in her program. And in her case, it was important to get some of her marketing done before school started, because once school started, she knew she was going to be very busy. I hope you can see how this can help you organize your school meal promotions. And I'd like to just take a moment to remind you that we welcome your questions, and if you have any, we can go ahead and invite you to put those in the chat box, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. Just a few other tips for planning your events. One is think big plan for the whole year in advance and just identify a few. You don't need to do something every single month. Piggyback on something that's already happened. For example, your principals are going to be very focused on making sure that students are there for count days so that they maximize the amount of enrollment dollars they can get. That's a perfect day to also offer a taste testing of a new item and to promote that so that kids show up and they're excited to test that. Remember to use the planning checklist tool. That's just a great way to make it easy for you to get through each event seamlessly. Remember that marketing your event is about getting people excited and sharing the fun and celebrating. Your students are really some of your best customers, and they can also be your greatest promoter. Involve them and ask for their support around promoting things and getting their buy-in in terms of recipes and things they'd like to see. Principals are a real important part of your marketing promotions. Ask for help, and remember to stay visible in your school, letting them know what you're doing and what you're really proud of that's happening in your kitchen. So now we're going to turn to Dan Sharp from School District 51, Mesa County Valley School District. And he's going to be sharing with us some of his expertise around planning his campaign. We're really excited to have you, Dan. Thank you for joining us today. Can you share with us a little bit about your work around promoting your program?
Yes, I'd be happy to. First of all, thanks for allowing me the opportunity to share some of the work that we've been doing in School District 51, and hope it's helpful to our members that are out there in the state today. We've actually, I guess I want to start off with just by saying that even though we are doing a considerable amount of the activities that you've just gone over, it's taken us probably 4 years to build into that. So for those of you out there that are just beginning to start your campaign planning toolkit, don't feel like you have to conquer the world in one day. That you can build on each year some of the work that you're doing. And one of those is the tool that you're kind of looking on the slide in front of you. If you look up to the top left there, as we started making this transition with LiveWell's help from a process to a scratch food model, we really wanted to get the word out into the community about that. And so that little cut and paste copy that you see at the top left there is one story of about 6 stories that we put together with the help of a marketing company. They help us with formatting, but we write the copy. And we put this together right now. We're working on it right now as one of our key campaign initiatives, is to build stories that can help change the perception of the community with the program that we're doing. And so that's something we began about 4 years ago, and we use it to promote several different initiatives. We're targeting the community audience, but we're also targeting our district households. And one of those that we always talk about each year is what are we doing with our farm to school? That's always a big topic, especially in our area. So you want to probably look at what are some key items in your area or local market that the community is tuned into, and that always gets all of our TV stations and local news that usually generate stories from that. So we do that piece. It's an annual school newsletter, and it's full color. It's a very nicely presented, very professional, and that's important to us because we want to make sure that we're communicating to the community that that's the type of organization we are. You know, that we are a very professional organization, and that and that's what we provide for the students that are selecting to participate in our program. And so it not only provides content about all the wonderful hard work that you and your employees are doing in your schools, but it's also communicating that. The other important piece that I think is great to throw into that newsletter that we send out is breakfast promotion. You know, many of us know from our administrative review processes that have now come through the last couple of years through as a component of the Healthy Hunger for Kids Act, is this is a great way for you to be compliant with that new regulation. And it's also great because you do want to grow your breakfast participation. As we all know, more revenue provides more resources to be able to take care of the hard-working staff that we have out at our schools. And so that's usually one of our 5 or 6 articles that go into that newsletter piece. But the piece also becomes a talking point. We utilize that piece, I utilize that piece throughout the school year. When I go to back-to-school nights, and we sponsor many of those, and I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit, but when we do back-to-school nights and I go speak in front of an audience, whether it's at a school or whether it's the Board of Education or whether it's a local civic group, that tool becomes a focal point. And so for those of you that might be uncomfortable in standing up in front of an audience, that tool is great because you can hand that out. It's full color, it's attractive, and it pretty much contains your talking points for what you're going to hit on when you're speaking during that quick little 4 or 5 minute update on your program. And so they're looking at that versus looking at you. And it's also a great thing for you to be able to refer to as you're making that presentation. So I use that throughout the year. That marketing tool becomes kind of a key part of our foundation of the work that we do to promote our program. Along with that is we direct mail that piece to all of our district households. All of us are dealing with the tough challenges of participation that's declining, and so have we, as we had shifted our program 4 years ago from that processed environment to a scratch environment. Like many of you, we did alienate some of our kids, you know, some of them that were still wanting the chicken nuggets or the high sodium type food or quick processed foods. You know, we've lost some of that. And so what we've noticed is by doing these type of campaign planning toolkits and doing these type of initiatives, this year, as the first year in 4, we're actually seeing an incline in our participation, especially at the younger grade levels. Our elementary populations, we're really gaining back and starting to see how this is impacting parents' perceptions of the work that we do. Because a lot of the times, and I think that's a key part of what Rainey and all the great work that you've done to put this together, one of the key challenges we battle with is perception. A lot of people have false perceptions of our programs, whether they see it on Facebook because some school halfway across the country who's really not trying to do a good job of meeting all the new regs with the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act, and so they are putting out poor quality food. And so what happens? That becomes a social media phenomenon. It goes viral, and we all see these pictures of a trout sandwiched between 2 pieces of a hamburger bun, you know, and the negative publicity that comes from that. And so I think it's important for all of us to be out there showing all the great hard work that we're doing so people don't have that false perception of our program, and this tool really helps me with that. The other key initiative we do that we target, besides the possibility of doing all the different holiday events throughout the year, is we do what are called open house food nights. A lot of the principals, we collaborate with them. We get on their calendars and find out when are they doing their key back-to-school nights where most of the population of households and kids would be coming back to meet with teachers and to see what's going on in their school. And we'll actually sponsor the meal that night and use our staff and prepare and serve our food, because we felt like, you know, what better way to show them the changes in the program besides a flyer or a nice pretty newsletter than to actually prepare the food, show them the scratch food that's been so heavily trained on by our LiveWell chefs, and show that off, and they can see it. And I can't tell you how many times after a presentation at a school, and I get up for 4 or 5 minutes, nothing long, and again I refer to that flyer, that newsletter piece, and at this point everyone's sitting down having their meal, and it's amazing to watch the perception change in those parents. And I'll have parents come up afterwards and say, wow, I never knew that you guys were not only serving scratch food made in our kitchen or at our school every day, but also by LiveWell trained staff, but also that it's good and that it's presented, it's colorful, it's fresh, and that you're doing all these fresh fruits and vegetables and all these wonderful things. And so that's always great to see, and that's always a big encouragement to our staff with all the hard work that we're doing. So those are 2 of the key things. You know, the annual school newsletter that we do is a big one. I then put it into a PDF document. I can email it. I can refer to it when I'm having conversations with parents or with community members, media. I can send them that piece. It's used over and over and over again throughout the school year. In fact, we're working on it now to get ready for the next fall. So those are 2 of the 3. And Rainey, if you want, I can jump into the 3rd one.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, the 3rd one is just, you know, our industry as everyone knows, has really been under a national spotlight, and especially with the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act and for all the new components that keep coming out each year with it. And I think it's important, instead of looking at that as a negative, is looking at that as a positive. That's an opportunity for you and your program to tell your story, to tell the local community, what are you doing? So when that negative press comes out and the media contacts you and they want to interview you about your charge collection practices, or they want to interview you about, are you doing any farm to school work in your community, or is this how your food looks? You know, like we just saw on this kid that posted at some school in Wisconsin. You know, to me, those are always opportunities to communicate the great work we're doing. And I'll actually invite the media to go out to the school and during lunch, so they can see and take video of the meals and then talk on camera about, here's what it looks like in our community. So I think that's really the other key piece, is we always look for that and to take advantage of that. And quite frankly, it's not something that I really have to worry about. Maybe it's just the Mesa County community, but I get calls at least once or twice a month to do and talk about, you know, what are you guys doing in School District 51? Are you guys doing this? And then that gives us the opportunity to show off.
That's great. And Dan, I know you've had some amazing things come out of those presentations. You've gotten some community support as a result of that. Is it fair to share that as well?
Well, sure, yeah. I think because we've spent, you know, with the work of using this LiveWell Toolkit over the last couple of years and implementing those 3 key initiatives in our program, and being in the spotlight and constantly doing that work, you know, we've been watched and we've been observed. And there's a local foundation here in our area in the western part of Colorado that's been watching that work, and they've seen how we've gone out and made all these changes to improve fueling successful learning and to improve kids' health and all these wonderful things. And so they saw the money that was coming from the Colorado Health Foundation and how much we were awarded to buy new equipment and provide the tools and resources and training for our staff. And so they decided they want to participate. They want to jump on board. And so they've actually helped purchase some salad bars for us actually several months ago. And then just recently, they had noticed where summer programming wasn't as prevalent in our community as it had been in years past, and so they've put out $50,000 for us to go buy a food truck to allow us the ability to go out and help deal with hunger in our high poverty areas of the community this summer. And I was real excited about that, not just for the hunger needs, but just the fact that the community is paying attention. I never went and asked for the money. They came to me. They said, Dan, how can we help you? We've been watching what's been going on in what you guys are doing. And we love seeing what's happening in our schools for Mesa County kids. We want to help.
Yeah, these are just fabulous examples, and it's so great how you really see those opportunities to talk to the media and to see those as positive opportunities. I can imagine some folks probably are like, no, I don't want to talk about this. It's something negative, but you see that. How did you get yourself comfortable even to be on camera or to be interviewed? Because I know that for a number of folks, that's a little scary to be in the spotlight.
You know, no matter how many times I've done it, you're always nervous. But I think the way you get comfortable is preparation. You know, is just preparing in advance the content you're going to talk about and targeting. I think your LiveWell information, the toolkit, provides that. You know, as far as who's your target audience, who are you speaking to, and the other key thing that I think is motivating for me is we all know the hard work that it takes for our staffs to do what they're doing in the kitchens. And for me, I want to champion that. I want to champion their hard work that they do every day to help serve kids healthy and tasty meals. And what better way can you support your team and the hard work that they're doing than to be out in front of them and leading that charge and changing the perceptions of your community members about that work that they're doing, because they really are working hard to make these transitions and to make this happen.
So have you noticed the pride in your community increasing since you started these marketing efforts within your staff as well?
Oh, definitely. You know, it's definitely always talked about, man, I just saw you on TV again, and talking about this. Wow, that's so wonderful. I mean, I hear it from our staff. I hear it from members of the community. You guys are always out there. You're always communicating. It's great to see. A lot of the things I hear is it's great to see a government, agency that's kind of running their department like it's a business. You're tuned into customer service, and you're good stewards with managing your finances and you're trying to get by more local produce, and you're trying to improve the health of our kids. Yes, yeah, it's great to hear that.
So Dan, if you were a brand new food service director and knowing what you know now, what are just like one or two specific areas where you might target your efforts if you knew you needed to promote your program but you were feeling kind of overwhelmed?
Yeah, I would start with probably doing some kind of a newsletter piece, because that piece that you can direct mail to all your households before your school year starts, and in it you can provide links to your landing pages of your website for menus and things like that. But I think that's a great piece because it takes the visual off of you. If you're uncomfortable and go in front of a camera or taking that step at this point, this at least helps to get all the great hard work out into your target audience, and so I would recommend that. And I would recommend the couple of things you've suggested in the presentation already. Find someone in your district, leverage those abilities that you have in either your team of people, or leverage that in your communications department, because there probably is somebody. I know when we first started this work several years ago, that's what we did. We leveraged our communications department and said, hey, we really want to change the public's perception of the work that we're doing, and we need your help. And so that was a big part. So ask for help, and get their help, because they'll help you with writing copy, maybe helping you write the stories, because right now you're probably thinking, oh God, I don't got time to sit down and write that. And I would just suggest it's what better way for you to spend less time cutting people's hours and reducing staff because of declining participation than to spend a little time on this stuff with the LiveWell campaign toolkit and the marketing and things like that.
Excellent. Dan, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time today. These are valuable tips, and we're just really excited what you're doing over there on the Western Slope, and thank you for sharing all your ideas and all your expertise, and keep up the great work.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. So now I think we have completed our webinar for today. We don't have any additional questions. I want to thank you for your participation today from LiveWell, Colorado. We want to just remind you that this webinar and all the tools are available to you online. We hope you will join us for the rest of our webinar series. Our next one is going to be around a key event, which you should all be focused on, which is back to school. It's going to be on August 12th from 2 to 3 p.m. And this will help you get ready and prepared for some tips and tricks for capturing your key back-to-school moments to highlight your healthy meal changes. We're so grateful for your participation today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.